Well, hello and welcome to Hello Chaos, the unfiltered podcast for founders in the messy middle. There are no fairy tales here, just the real grind, the grit, and chaos of what it takes to start and build a business. Today we have on our show Justin Banner. He is the founder and president of Noggn, calling out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And Justin, I'm excited you're on the show. We've got so much in common. And this isn't your first business. This isn't your first radio. So you have a lot of insights, I am sure, you can share with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jen. And I guess it's probably just a lot of battle scars I got to share.
Yeah. It's like, we have them all. So why don't you just start out? So what inspired you after all like your journey, but what inspired Noggin?
That's a great question, and one that I think is my favorite answer because it was born out of a need, a pain that somebody had and experienced on a daily basis. And those are usually the best ways to build a business.
That's
It's from
right.
a pain out. I love it. And the pain that this friend was experiencing was he was running a restaurant. He was actually doing really well at it. He had bought it in 2017 down in the Tampa, Florida area and had turned it around. It was kind of a dumpster fire when he bought it, but
Mm,
it ended up becoming a wild success, and doing really well. But as he looked back in the rearview mirror 7 or 8 years later, he felt like he didn't have much life balance. He felt
mm,
like he had given too much to the restaurant, and he felt like when he tried to pull away from the restaurant that everything fell apart, that people
mm.
didn't know what to do. He had no insight into what people were doing. He couldn't take any time off. And
Yeah.
so we wrestled with this problem with him for probably about a year, trying to come up with some way to help him get out of the business and not necessarily be such an integral part of the business, but work.
Right, which is a huge challenge for every founder, I think. I'm sure you even had to struggle with that as, in your businesses too.
It
I
is.
know it's something that is a goal. I work every time. I'm like, this has to be scalable. This has to be repeatable. This has to be.
That's exactly right. Not a lot of people go through that mindset. They get so bogged down in what has to be done to make the business
Mm,
operate that they don't think about how do I systemize this or how do I pull
yeah.
myself out or how do I pass off this knowledge to somebody else?
So, so as the solution, the problem to get that, what is Noggin? You said, is it a platform or is it a,
Yeah.
um,
It
yeah,
actually is
what
a
does it do?
platform. Yeah, it's an app that's downloadable on any mobile device, but we think of it as a digital checklist solution. And
Oh,
so everyone operates by checklists, either in your brain or on paper, or sometimes if
mm-hmm.
you're crazy sophisticated on a Google Sheet. But this takes those checklists that are in most founders and business owners' heads and puts them into a platform, and then it automates them by scheduling them, and then it assigns them to the proper role. And so it's really simple to just think, who does what when in my business, and how often do I want
I
them
was like, I'm going, oh, ding, ding, ding.
to?
Chandler and I are like, oh, this is because we've been looking at like Copilot. How do we,
Right,
we're
right,
a Microsoft Office.
right,
How do we? Because some of the project management software that's off the shelf, because we're a unique business, like a lot,
right.
some of those just don't work.
What we found is that all of those are overbuilt. They are just so
Mm,
crazy complicated. ClickUps, Process Street, Monday.coms, all the
yeah,
things. You have to have a PhD to operate it. And so we just thought, how do we make this stupid simple, but yet useful? And so
yeah.
I think that we're trying to solve that problem, which is how do we digitize it without overcomplicating?
Oh, you come from agency marketing, kind of that background. What the craziness of? Okay, you've done that, and then you're like, let me build a product.
Yeah, that's right. It is a pivot. It's a pivot.
Yeah,
Fortunately for me, everything needs digital marketing and sales, no matter what.
yeah.
And this is maybe the 4th or 5th different vertical I've attacked with digital marketing skills, and they all have the same tool belt with the same, right? Just different
Mm,
audience, different
yeah.
value proposition. But yeah, we did go for a product. And interestingly enough, at the end of my last agency, as you mentioned, it actually got merged together with a SaaS, with a software.
Okay.
Same target market, and so I
Mm.
had brought the agency side, and my partner brought a software that he had built, and we merged them together. And I ended up running that business for about 4 years as the combined solution before it was sold. And so I
Wow.
got a lot of SaaS experience. I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. And then it was
Yeah.
also the digital agency, and so really it's very similar to what I was doing. It's not that far removed.
It's not that far. So what's been the most I was like challenging, or maybe it's like a an aha moment, or I'm just like, what did you bring from you've run the businesses before, you've done all that, and now you're entering here? Were there anything that you're like, ooh, this is not what I expected? That was kind of like an aha moment for you because you had this experience.
Yeah, and there's always surprises no matter how much experience you have. There's always
Yeah.
surprises behind new doors. The world
Yeah.
shifts and changes all the time. Probably the biggest thing that we just kind of fell in our lap that we didn't expect was this was built for restaurants.
Mm,
But then I went to a trade show that was small business owners, and it was really interesting because I just wanted to kick the tires on other verticals and just see what happened. And we came out of there with about 30 people that were like, "That fits my business." And it was
wow.
everything from performance coaches to digital agencies to warehouses, manufacturing. Everybody, as it turns out, operates by digital checklists, right? And then they don't have a way to digitize, assign, oversee, and automate. And so this is a way that or this is something that kind of fell in our
Or
lap.
the simplifying it, because I think everybody, we all want it. But
Right.
yeah, you're either spending a lot of money on a tool
Yeah.
that doesn't get implemented fully because it's too complicated, or you're just dealing with people using things in their own silo, their comfort level of an Outlook, that, yeah,
Right.
self-managed, not more universal. Um,
Yeah, so we're hoping to be the simplified version of those complicated things and an upgraded version of the simple things. So hopefully we're creating a kind of a new niche there.
yeah. So what's been the most rewarding part? I mean, across, not just in with Noggin. By the way, what's okay? What's the name? Like,
You're right, Noggin,
yeah.
Noggn, noggin.com. That's right. Like using your noggin. So the concept
Okay.
was we're taking it out of our brains and putting it into a process,
Into the
putting it
Noggin.
into a technology, into a tool. Right.
Nice. It's like Noggin going, but yeah, that would be another word for brain.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
What's been the most rewarding part
You know,
of your
talking to
journey?
talking to business owners and being able to relate to them, I love that
Mm,
part of the business, and just seeing the frustration that they deal with on a daily basis and giving them a glimmer of hope of, "Oh my
yeah.
gosh, this business could theoretically exist without me. There is some light at the end of the tunnel through this tool. There are ways that I don't have to be here every single day." Right?
Yeah.
I love kinda breaking down the business, and they have a hard
Seeing,
time business owners have a hard time in general of thinking about what are my processes?
right.
What do I wanna put in there? What is important? And
Right.
just walking through that from a strategy perspective, I absolutely love.
So, what's been the shift of you grew up in the service based to now doing a product? Which one do you like better, worse? What's been that transition, that pivot?
Yeah, they all have their pros and cons, right?
Mm,
I do like that there's a physical product we're delivering.
mm.
In the agency space, it's virtual and not tangible for most
It's
people.
intangible, right?
Right.
You're always trying to prove your value.
Right, I think that's right. They don't know what they're getting, even when you
Yeah,
explain it to them. What is a click? What is an impression? What is an ROI? What is a ROAS? What are leads? Right? And so,
right.
as much as we try to explain that, it's still really ambiguous and hard for them to wrap their brain around. So this is something that they can touch, see, feel, and experience as opposed to just getting a report at the end of the month. Not that that's
Yeah,
bad, it's just different, right? It's just different.
right. So, what's been the biggest, I guess, challenge? What's been the wall that you've hit,
So, the approach we
or
took
if you
just
haven't, or if you
oh,
have?
yeah. Oh, yeah, every business hits a wall. Every business hits a wall. And the one that I wouldn't say didn't anticipate, but we anticipated it, but it's been a little more challenging than we thought, was that we had the idea that we would get our MVP, our minimum product,
Mm,
our simplest version of the product into about 10 or 12 alpha clients' hands as quickly as possible,
yeah. Okay.
and getting the amount of feedback back in order to iterate on the product.
Mm,
And so it's been an iteration loop, and we're probably in cycle 6 or 7 of that, but it's just challenging to decide what goes in, what stays out, which of these has merit, which of
Right.
these is critical. Because if you iterate and add everything into the product, you're no longer simple. And so
Mm,
it's like, can we live without that? How do we do it
right.
without that?
Is it really necessary? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a challenge. Adding things to a product is easy. Keeping things out is hard, right?
Yeah.
Explaining to people why you're keeping out their request, what they
Well,
want.
especially if you're getting, feedback at, a 10, 15, even 30. Some stuff is like, okay, that I heard that feedback from that but would that be universal? Is that a
Right,
universal need?
right.
Yeah.
Is this a golden nugget or is this just a distraction, right? So
Right.
that's
Right.
really hard to predict.
How are you what do you guys have a rubric or some kind of a decision matrix to determine, okay, this is we've got to take this serious and we've got, this is a universal fix and these are maybe like priority D or something that you can unless
Yeah,
until we hear more feedback on
yeah,
that. This doesn't enhance the user experience or this isn't real or maybe it's contradictory to what other people have said. Is
yeah,
that
and you know what? That's really tough to ferret out no matter what model you use to
yeah.
weigh it against, because one person could have the greatest idea on the earth and the army of 10 might have a bad idea united,
Right.
and so it's hard to decide. The lens that we try to look through is this a universal application or is this a one-off? Is this a
Mm,
one-off request that would only help this business because of their unique use case, or is this
right.
something that every business struggles with?
Yeah.
And
And you guys are trying to keep it to be more universal, not just go into like a vertical
that's right.
use
Yeah, I
case.
think eventually we might have vertical versions of it, but
Mm,
right now we are trying to create the process that creates process. And
yeah.
so we're trying to get that as simple as possible and make that just really easy.
So it's so just I always ask the founders, what's one operational bottleneck in your business that you thought you would never get solved? Your product is that
You're
solution.
right. You hit it. You hit it.
But do you guys have obviously, are you using your own product internally for yourself? Or is there another operational bottleneck that you've kind of discovered of, ooh, I've pivot from service. Yes, you combined with a SaaS company, but now you're building, your own software. Are there other operational bottlenecks that you're struggling with?
All kinds. All kinds. One of
Really?
the interesting ones is how much onboarding time it takes because
Yes.
we can't just turn people loose with the tool. We have
Mm,
to walk them through their first 5 to 7 processes, and they don't know where to start. And so helping them filter through critical processes and
mm,
implement. And so while we would like it to be a self-guided experience, it's not. And meaning that they need help thinking through how to use the tool, they be trained on it. And so that
yeah.
takes a lot of onboarding that we didn't think would slow us down.
Right. But that's also could be spun as a uniqueness because I think that's why there's so much churn in tools
Yeah.
and tech is because
Yes.
nobody's built in. Yeah, they have some the onboarding or whatever, but it's still not it's still kind of like you figured you fi-
Yeah, you know what? There are so many SaaS's dream is to not talk to a human, and we don't have that approach, right? A SaaS dream is to build something and go to Hawaii and cash a check.
yeah.
But I think that that's where most fall down to your point, and I think that that's where we're gonna win is because we are adding in a human element on
Mm,
purpose. We want that warm fuzzy where our sales cycle includes live demos, it includes explanations, it includes onboarding with somebody that will take multiple weeks to help you ferret through and make sure you're successful. But I think
yeah.
it's right. We don't want it to be just a tool they cancel after 30 days because
Will your tool will Noggin be is this to be used as like more of a standalone like a operational systems, checklist to then assignment roles that could replace these bigger, more complex project management tools that people all they want is let me track this, let me assign this. I need to just know where the status of things. But we've tried every, project management tool under the sun and they're still like we still struggle with just the simplistic. Are you trying to be a replacement of that or a tie-in?
yeah,
Just
we're
curious.
definitely not gonna tie in.
Okay.
I think it will be an either or. What I found even in my own businesses, and I'm probably an above average user, is that I end up on Google Sheets so much because it's so easy. And
Yeah.
it's like everybody can share it, everybody can see it, you can type in it, you don't have to learn it. And we end up using Google Sheets for everything. It doesn't do a lot of the lifting that we'll build into Noggin, but I'm just
Right.
saying that we just kind of gravitate to that because I think the solutions out there are so overbuilt.
Yeah. I agree. And costly. I
Yeah, no
mean,
kidding. Right. Yes,
so costly.
100%.
So as part of your, we always tease founders and owners of and you had talked about that. That was the pain of letting go. How do you delegate? How do you make sure that do you struggle with that as well, or have in your own journey? And as like you see that, that's the biggest thing for small business owners is the how do I delegate?
Yeah, because nobody can do it as good as us, right? That's
Right,
what we all think. Nobody's as good as us, and the truth is nobody cares as much as a founder. And
right,
so founders do struggle with offloading. And as I've progressed in my career, I used to roll up my sleeves and dive in and try to figure out everything. And I have pivoted off that, and I manage people who are better at it than I am. So it doesn't
yeah,
matter what it is, because there are so many things to learn now. Even take an agency, probably 50 skills that you could specialize in order to be a good digital marketer.
yeah,
And so I end up being the strategist and take pride in that and hire people to do the micro experts. And they'll be better at me than running a Google Ads campaign, than setting up
yeah,
a Facebook pixel, than creating creatives every day and iterating, right? That's what they do, but I can stand back and say, if I look at the map, where are we going on the map?
yeah,
Instead of I'm in this city building one house with a bunch of bricks. So I'd say that's a transition I made because I'm impatient and I want it done. And so I would just jump in and be like, I'm gonna make this video. And then I would be like, why didn't I have somebody make my video? Right? Because
that's right.
I'm a hack job never comes out as polished as an expert, right?
That's right.
And so, yeah, that's something that I've
You can
learned is
see it. Yeah. If you could hit rewind, I know we always, there's people out there and I believe in this of, we're put on a path and the lessons learned and, you don't want to go back. But if you could hit rewind and give yourself advice to go, what you know now, is there anything that you would go, why I could wish I could tell my past self these these tips to avoid pain?
I really think that that's it, and that is to manage the process and not be in the process as a founder and as an owner of a
Mm,
business. I think that so often we have a skill set. That's why we started a business, and we wanna use that skill set. But the skill to run a business is not the skill to deliver a product a business has. It's so different.
right.
And so I would say I would get out of the weeds sooner, and I would manage the big picture of the business as quick as I could
Mm,
rather than saying, "I have to deliver this product because they hired me and I'm the guy to do," right? And so I think
yeah.
just lifting myself above the process and managing that and getting other people involved a lot quicker, it just scales so much
Mm,
faster. It just scales so
that's
much
right. What have you learned about yourself during the journey?
that I love building businesses. That's like my passion. People are like,
Really?
"What's your hobby?" And I'm like, "Starting businesses." Yeah, yeah, and, it's kinda like my hobby, my passion. It's what I think about, it's what I read about, it's what I try to learn, and taking something from 0 and creating, I find it thrilling. And so, I've done it 4 or 5 times now, and
Wow.
every time it gives me the same rush. It doesn't get old. I just love, but I also feel lucky that I found something that I love and that I can work
Yeah.
out.
Is that the goal for Noggin is to build this up and then you'll exit it to try to find a
You
another
know what? We
SaaS?
had some interesting things happen in the last exit. Everybody thinks that that's the finish line, and then
Hmm.
you look in the rearview mirror and you have regret, and you're like, "You know, we should have held that. You know, we should have kept that. It was really good. We had a good thing. It was growing. It was cash flowing, and then we just couldn't hand it off fast enough. And then whoever buys it doesn't care as much as you, doesn't watch it as
Yeah.
much as you. It kind of gets
And you see you see the vision and the dream kind of being torn up from
yeah.
the
And then
yeah.
it's interesting to go from entrepreneur because I was retained by the people to run it for a couple of years, and then the shift to employee. So that's a really tough shift. So to
Yeah.
answer your question, we don't plan to exit Noggin. We plan to build it and hold it, and just Just
and love it a little bit.
yeah,
Love it a
exactly.
little bit more.
Yes, exactly.
I
100%.
love it. If I gave you a magic wand and you could change two things about Noggin today, what what would you change?
Really tough question. I would say how fast we're able to develop, and I don't
Mm,
know if that's more developers or it's a clearer process or something, but development, you're always waiting on development, always.
yeah.
And so I would say that's one thing. The other is, that I would be able to put my finger on the exact vertical that it's gonna fit best
Mm,
in. 'Cause you can get stretched thin, and we are probing and testing other verticals to see, but we really wanna
right.
focus in and hone in on one where it's gonna function the best and work the best, and
Yeah.
we can own that
Like,
one.
what are some universal truths between these like three verticals or these
Yeah.
five verticals and just hit them?
Yes. Yeah, just kill.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're still probing and experimenting, and we have, people testing, but to know that right now, then we could just go all in and not have to look left and right and wonder if, get FOMO.
Yeah.
Wonder if
Cause
we're
yeah,
missing
you're
it.
right. Like you could be scaling or you could be developing forever.
Right, right. Yep. We
And you're
just
like,
gotta nail it, then
I
scale
need
it.
it. Right.
Exactly, exact
What's the other thing you would want to do?
I think those
Change
are the 2
magic
things,
wand
faster development, right, more rapid development cycles, and finding the vertical.
and then
Right.
finding the verticals. Where have you tapped in from a resource perspective? I mean, does Salt Lake have a good ecosystem or did you as part of your even your other businesses, did you seek outside of like the geography and tapped into other entrepreneurial communities? Like how where were you getting your nourishment as a founder?
Yeah, so I have a daily I think that's so important, by the way. You can feel lonely, you can feel tired, you can get how do you
Mm,
recharge? And so I do a few things. One is daily podcasts or reading. Like, I just have to plug into something that's uplifting, where you hear other stories, where you get belief, you hear
yeah.
that you're not the only one. Then I do have some local meetup groups that I go to that it's so fun to rub elbows with people that are
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, trying to win customers, trying to figure out product. They can understand the struggle. Um, and then the last is I do go outside of my geography often. I am a regular on Fiverr and Upwork to find those
Really?
micro experts when I
Hmm.
just need this troubleshoot. I used to be the guy that was going to troubleshoot something, and now I just think, why spend a day on that when I could hire someone and they probably could do it in 2 hours? And so
Yeah.
anytime I have a
So
problem
smart.
that
So
needs to be
smart. Yeah.
solved. It's like micro outsourcing. It's so beautiful. I can buy 2 hours of somebody's time, and they're gonna fix this website that's broken. They're gonna fix this pixel that's not firing. They're gonna fix this campaign that's not getting impressions, whatever it is, and, they troubleshoot it so much faster and more efficient. So, I always look to micro experts now.
Might have to think even how we build our own kind of creative community, but I like to vet it, know people, kind of have that. But
Yes. Yes.
yeah, that is even the micro outsourcing. That is extremely smart. I like that. What advice would you give to somebody, another business owner, and I'm sure you are working with small business owners, but what advice do you think is really good around scaling up? I mean, here you start, you scale, yes, you've exited, but like we call that's the messiness. It's the messy middle when you're really trying to accelerate and scale. What advice do you give to another business owner around that?
And it's not just because of Noggin, but it really is. I've learned the value of creating a playbook or a documented
Mm,
process. And I'm a sales and marketing guy, and we resist that. But it's so much easier to have a sales guy that starts with a playbook. Here's the script that works. Here's the place to go to get leads. Here's where you, right? Instead of
yep.
them jumping on their computer for the first time and just getting lost. So creating a playbook for your major processes that drive the business. For me, it's sales and marketing, and so how do
Yeah.
I what is the marketing playbook? Where are we trying to get attention? How are we capturing leads? How are we nurturing those leads? And actually writing it down, forcing yourself to write it down and the rhythm of it, so that if I
Mm,
left the business, some marketer could slide in and understand what we're doing,
right.
and I think so
Be
many people
repeatable.
skip
Yeah.
that. That's right, repeatable. And we just wing it
Uh,
so much as entrepreneurs, we kinda leave that out. And it's good in the beginning to iterate and to try things, but when something works, write it down and make it a process that people can
that's
read
right.
and repeat.
We've been doing that under our agency of the last, agency world, as you know, has kind of exploded, and
Yep.
gotten really complicated.
Right.
And how do you define yourself as an agency? I came from big traditional agencies. Started my boutique agency in 2013, but with that mindset of like big agency thinking, but we can do things in a more value package. And where we found the sweet was working with small businesses and medium-sized businesses, because that thinking is not accessible to the small business. Like that's not even, but then the explosion of different product driven agencies, it really just kind of muddies. It's been difficult for us to kind of stand out in the small business space. So yeah, we've been working on that, but at the same time, we are developing our own business operating system, right? Of we have our brand and who we are and how do we talk about ourselves, but then that has to be infused in our tools and our tech and our processes and our system and then our people. And I think having those four frameworks aligned and integrated is the secret. That's what we see most. What we're doing for clients in the messy middle is aligning those things. We just happen to go, maybe we should do it for ourselves.
We should eat our own dog food, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And that's
Um,
smart. And that's smart. And it
yeah.
anything today is crowded. Anything to it doesn't
Mm.
matter what product you
It's
have,
so noisy. Everything's noisy.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So you just have to have a crystal clear proposition and a way to deliver that and
Right.
communicate it. So I think you're smart. And I think so many people just gloss over that, but it is not that you need a
And
binder because you don't, but you need some
you
documentation.
need some, and it needs to be a lot and thought through and being thoughtful about it.
Right.
Like what, just for, I can use us as an example, but we walk these same strategic frameworks with our clients too, but it's like our agency is the foundation is curiosity, right? And it's also about adaptability and agility of how we work with our clients. So our tools and our tech and our processes need to also have that framework, and we need to hire for that, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
having those aligned,
Yeah, you have some good
I do think
definitions to
that's,
start with. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a lot of small business don't take the time to think about that.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And
What
then
makes them different?
yeah, it's founder knowledge. They seem to believe it and think it and know it, but infusing that amongst customers and employees is a different task.
That's right.
Totally.
Totally different. Takes a different energy, and it stretches a different muscle.
It does.
But a very different muscle. So, is there something, as you're kind of been in the entrepreneur world and founder world, been with teams, now working with, new folks, is there something that you have always wished that you love about yourself, right? You're like, this is something I like about, but you wish other people recognized more?
Recognized in me or
Yeah.
interesting. I've never been asked that.
Just curious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there,
you know what? I would say that I'm a red personality or a driver, an A type,
mm-hmm.
and so I think a lot of times people think that the most important thing to me is bottom line or
Mm.
results or right something. But to me, the most exciting part of all of it is the people, and
Mm.
I'm trying to round that side out better and not just
Yeah.
drive for results, but make sure that we're helping people along the way. And as I get to this stage of my career, I want to make sure that people feel like I'm leading with that and it's not an
Yeah.
afterthought and not neglected. That I want to make life easier for businesses. I don't want to sell a tool. I want to make
Right.
life easier. I
You
want
want to
them to
bring people with you.
that's right. Yes. And employees too. I want to make sure that they are getting resume enhancing experiences while they work with us, that they feel like they left better with better tools and better knowledge.
Yeah.
So I think that that people side is more important to me now than ever and probably didn't come out early on.
Yeah, that's something that I think that's been an aha for me over the last at least 5 years, at least. Of one, it's the people part that can halt your scalability. So managing people, leading people, getting connection, with people, building those relationships. I think I know personally, it was like, well, no, I lead with strategy. Like it's gonna be about, what I'm the thought leadership more, I call myself like more the librarian, that's
Yep.
going to be valued. And I
Right.
kind of took for granted of no, just like letting your inner personality, like let some of that fun, the funness or, the silliness, kind of let that
Right.
come through a little bit more,
Yes.
to build those connections and be more real and more relaxed.
And that
And I
creates
don't know
such
if
a
that's age
culture.
or if that's because of you
Right.
do hit walls in
Right.
your
I'm done.
journey and go,
Right.
oh gosh, I think out of all these like issues or relationship problems, I'm the common denominator. Maybe I need to work on myself a little bit. So
Right,
yeah.
right.
Um,
No, that's great, and I love it,
but
and that's
no.
those are the things that create a culture, right?
Yeah,
Intentionally or unintentionally, it can be neglected, but if it's intentional, it's a much better culture, right?
that's right. That's right. So I'm just curious of what do you do in your free time? You love to start and build a business as your hobby,
Right,
but what
right.
else do you do?
Yeah, so I go with my wife on travel, and her love and passion is travel, and so we're probably gone every month somewhere new,
Wow. So
and so
nice.
what's
Where
that?
do you guys go? What's your favorite place?
Oh my gosh. Probably our favorite place is a cruise that's the Eastern Mediterranean. It leaves from Venice and it goes to Greece and it goes to Turkey and Croatia. And it's just the most spectacular place that's so unlike what we live in. I just love to get variety. And so it's so
Yeah.
different from anything we have here. I love the culture. I love the people. I love the food. Like it's just a great place to visit. So that's one of my favorites.
That's on my bucket list is that exact like
Do that
cruise.
cruise, do that cruise, that's yeah, it's spectacular. I've gone the other
Yeah,
way, I've started in Rome and gone over to, Spain and back, but I do like the eastern side a little bit better.
very good. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do
Uh,
it.
and,
Um,
I have kids, I like to play with my kids, nieces and nephews, I like to golf, we like to go out and hike, we live in Utah, so there's a lot of trails 30
oh,
minutes
like
from us,
the
so
outdoors.
nature
Yeah,
guy, yeah, I like to be outside, I like to be outside
nature
too.
guy.
It's a good
Oh, it's
way
like
to
with your
decompress.
background.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that, by the way, is that your window that I'm looking at, or is that like a painting behind you?
Those are paintings. Yeah, those are paintings in my office.
Okay. I was like, if
What am
that's
I
the
looking at?
window,
Yeah,
what am I looking at?
right.
It's like it's
Nope.
picturesque.
Alright, those are 3 paintings. I like to be outside
Um,
even when I'm inside.
of course. So I'm like, is it snowing in Utah? And you're like, yes, it
Not
is
quite
snowing
yet.
here. Well, what's the best piece of advice that you were given that you really took to heart? And it's kind of become your go to advice.
Sell before you build, and I think that I
Hmm,
learned that, I think, from a book, and I built so many things and didn't know if anybody would buy them. And I'm very much now in the mindset of sell before you build, before you create anything. There are so many ways to mock up and demo and get feedback
right.
on and test and probe and ask before you build anything. I think so many founders and entrepreneurs get caught up in building that they forget to sell, and
Yeah,
then they go to market and nobody wants it. So,
I'm with you.
sell
I've
10 of
done
them
it.
before you build anything. That's what I would say, and I love to lead with
That's a good
sales.
one.
Yeah. Lead with
Uh,
customers, and if you don't have customers, you don't have anything, and so,
That's
I
right.
think sales and customers first, even before product.
That is fantastic advice. So if you summed up your entrepreneurial journey, not just with Noggin, but your full journey, what word would you use to describe it?
Yeah, I've used this word over and over and over again, mostly with my wife, because I remind her we're on a roller coaster. And I love that
Uh-huh.
because that means up and down, and it
Yep.
is. It's not a rocket ship. It's a roller coaster,
Goes up and down. Yeah, we
and if
never just like
no
live this way,
coast, there's no
right?
coasting.
There's no
It is. It's
coasting.
on a corner with your hands in the air.
The spinny kind, right?
Right, right,
And the highs are highs and the
right,
lows can
right.
be
That's it.
lows.
That's it. And it
Yeah.
varies so much, but I love the thrill of the ride. I wouldn't trade it. It's not for everybody, but I do
No.
love the roller coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk to people either like, oh, I want to start my own business. I'm like, be ready because it's
Yeah,
not what you
that's right.
think. Or solopreneurs that come out and they're just basically grabbing gigs
Yeah.
and you know, and some are like, I need to scale. Like then when you start talking, like this is what you have to do to scale, and you need to be ready to take the risk. And they're like, never mind, I just like
I'm
the
good.
gigs. I'm
I'm
good.
good. They wanted to be paid directly by the client instead of through a company. They wanted a different kind of
Right.
job, right,
Yeah.
and not running a business, so that's a very
Right.
different thing.
Very different. Extremely different. Okay, so if you look ahead to the next chapter in your journey, what word do you want to describe that chapter?
I think adventure, it kinda
Mm.
goes along with roller
You
coaster.
like adventure, travel more?
Yeah, travel. When I say adventure, I just don't ever wanna get complacent. I don't wanna ever wanna
Mm.
sit still. I don't wanna get to a point where I'm coasting. I like to build, and part of the building process is exhilarating for me, and when it gets to a point that it hits plateau or evens out, I like to turn it over to a manager and go build something. And so, anyway, I hope I don't lose my sense of adventure. That's those are I wanna
Yeah.
keep opening new doors and seeing what's behind them instead of just settling for what's familiar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you can do that within the given like new partnerships,
Yes.
what we call as you scale the new level, new devil. So there's always something that that is an
Exactly.
adventure.
No, that's right.
If you
Always
put your
testing.
mindset that
You're
way,
right.
like, it's not a devil, it's just a new adventure.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's right. Um, well, this is awesome. And then if we met a year from now, what would we be celebrating? What's the win?
When is that we would have 100 people using Noggin, and that they're raving fans of it. They're not using it. They didn't adopt it and quit. They
Right.
feel like their life
They
was
just tested it. You want
right.
100 raving
That's
fans
it.
of
That's it.
Noggin.
People that have embraced it, infused it, adopted it, pushed it into their organization, and they say, "This changed me. This changed my business. Thank you." That would be
That's what you want to hear.
a huge high five.
All right. We're manifesting it, putting it out
I
there.
like it. I like it.
Who
Let
knows? Bright might be one of those users because
it
we are, and maybe this is why we talk today. I always say everything happens for a reason because
right?
we're looking for that. We're
Something
looking
like
for
that.
our connector.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. Well, what would our listeners be super surprised to learn about you that's not on a resume or it's not on LinkedIn, but just, yeah, what would be something interesting or surprising?
I'm super accident prone. My sense of adventure has got me in trouble so many times, and I live with a lot of
You're like,
pain.
I'm outdoorsy,
Right.
but I break
Right.
every bone.
I have very much done that, and I'm living with migraines, and pain in my neck, and I've had my share of concussions, stitches, falls, breaks, all because, I don't know, I love adventure and I push the
The
limits.
adventure.
Little
You're
little
like, not
hard,
there's
little hard.
you have no fears
I
and you
think
don't
that's
care.
right. I
You're
do think
like, I don't know. I just broke both my legs, but I'm gonna get up
let's go
and
again. Let's
let's
go
go
again.
again. That
Trying to
was
be a
the
little more
thrill.
cautious as I age, but, usually throw caution to the wind and go have a good time.
I love it. And you said you're a podcast guy. What's your favorite podcasts?
You know what? I listen to one of my favorite is, Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels. I think he's
Mm,
brilliant, and I love what he teaches because it's strategy and tactics. That's
mm,
so hard to get. You
yeah.
usually get a lot of one or the other. You either get stories, you get right? But I think he does a great job and staying up on new tactics that what's working now. It's always like, this is what this guy did. This is what's working now. And he's
Mm,
pivoted and shifted so many times. And in some sense, it can be overwhelming, but I think of it more as a buffet. And I can
yeah.
choose to add those things to my plate or I can leave them on the buffet. But
Right.
I just love that he keeps me up to date on
He's
what's
like keeping you
happening and change.
informed of, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a good one. Quick funnels. I'm gonna have to check it out.
So good.
Um, and then what's your best piece of advice that you want to give to our listeners?
Do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, do it, and don't look back. Have no regrets. You only live life once, and I feel like too many people settle for what's familiar and not what they want. And I
Yeah.
just say, do it. Take a chance. Take a risk. I've failed. I've never regretted failing. I've regretted when I haven't gone all in, and
Yeah.
I've regretted when I haven't
That's
pushed it. I've regretted when, right? But to go all in and fail, it's like it wasn't meant to be.
that's
But
right.
other times you succeed and it's a high win and a high five moment, but just do it. Just look back and
Yeah.
have no regrets.
But that's a good point. Most of the regrets, you're right. When I look back, it's like, ooh, I didn't give it my all. Like
Right.
or I was too passive about it.
Yeah.
That's what burns me up. And I'm like,
Yes.
I, I'm going, like, I called it, I had to do, I always have to give myself challenges like, okay, 90 days of bold X.
Yep.
or
Yep.
I
Yep.
got to do these things,
Right.
but I got to make it a challenge or a contact. And then once you do that, it changes your mindset of what was I
Right.
not confident for? What was I really fearful of? It's like I failed before, or or to me they're just lessons learned. But yeah, when I look back, like yeah, that was I just it's more of the
Doing it
I
halfway,
did
right?
not go all in. I
Right.
didn't give it my all.
And so you never know the outcome had you gone
Yeah.
all in, right? So do it and go all in. Don't just dance around it.
Love it. That's my aha for today.
I like
I'm
it.
gonna journal it tonight in my aha moment.
Love it.
Before we go, where can people? And this has been so fan. Like I could, I could go on, and we could talk more, get in the weeds of the business, but I won't do that. But where can people find you? Learn more about Noggin. How do they to become? Raving fans. What do you
Yeah,
need?
so we have a group of alpha testers right now, and we are taking people on a wait list for our beta group.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter what vertical or who you are, we want to get as many people into our beta group as possible because it's gonna kinda test the next generation of what we're doing. And so at Noggin, Noggn.com, there's a sign up form there, and it just puts you on the wait list, and we'll reach out when the beta version is ready, which would probably be early 2026. But we would
Oh,
love to have anybody test it that again, it doesn't
well,
have to be restaurants. We have so many different
well, sign
verticals.
us up. I'm gonna go in the form. Actually, I'm gonna do that today.
I love it.
We'll be
It'll
a
be
beta
one of them.
tester for sure. We'll be at one.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us today. But yeah, that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the journey doesn't stop here. If you found yourself nodding along, laughing, saying, "Oh, same, Justin, this was great," make sure to subscribe, share, or leave us that 5-star review on Spotify. You can also dig deeper into our founder resources and our tools or more episodes over at orangewhip.com. That's orangewip.com. And that is for a work in progress. But until next time, stay curious, stay scrappy, and just keep on doing it. And we'll see you again next week.